Welcome to Tera Bites, the series where I showcase builds for turrets that I've designed and tested myself. Today I'll be showcasing a build for Kommo-O and Araquanid. These are two Pokemon focused on offense using physical attacks while being able to provide some support. Note that these sets are designed to be used with people, not for solo play. Now with all that said, let's get into the builds. Some say that the best defense is a good offense, while others say that it's the best offense that is a good defense. Kommo-O lives by both of these sayings, using its defense to create offense. Kommo-O utilizes its high defense stat and iron defense to dish out strong body presses. Seriously, this hit like a truck, with even just one iron defense. Of course, with such good defenses, physical attacks might as well not exist in Kommo-O. It doesn't even have to worry that much about special attacks either. It's got solid special defenses and a good HP stat. And that typing, my god, that typing. Sure, you're 4 times Sook to Fairy, that sucks, but you also have a total of 7 resistances. That is kind of insane. If you're still worried about those special attacks, then luckily Kommo-O has an answer to that. Noble Roar decreases both the attack and special attack of the boss. It is, however, a status move, meaning that you can't use it while shield is up. Alternatively, Kommo-O gets Breaking Swipe. The attack reduction is less for itself and more so for its teammates, but it is a good move to build up to Tera nevertheless. Speaking of support, Kommo-O does also get Taunt, which is great, letting it shut down annoying status moves that may get in its way, which by doing so lets it get comfortable and set up the iron defenses it needs. Kommo-O does also get Screech, which it can benefit from. Could be good to run over Noble Roar, though not my preferred choice personally. Now you may be wondering, isn't this just a budget Samacenta? And to that I say, well, sort of. I think Kommo-O has its own merits personally. For example, its typing is better, which as I already mentioned, gives it a lot of resistances. Kommo-O does also not have to use the Rusty Shield, letting it run Shell Pull, making it a very self-sustaining Pokemon. I would not say one is worse than the other, they simply have different advantages, and I personally prefer Kommo-O. As for Kommo-O's ability, this is a rather interesting aspect about it, as all 3 of its abilities are actually rather useful. My preferred choice is Overcoat. This means that it doesn't have to worry about powder moves or Sandstorm, which wastes a lot of time. Running the other 2 abilities is not a bad thing though. Bulletproof makes it immune to many common moves such as Shadow Ball, Energy Ball, Sludge Bomb, and Seed Bomb. Soundproof is not as good, but it does have its uses, blocking moves such as Bug Buzz, Noble Roar, Screech, and Supersonic. Whichever you run is up to preference. Kommo-O in general is just a beast. It takes hits like a champ and hits like a truck in return. It's in my opinion one of the most consistently reliable fighting types that you can use for raids. If you've ever heard anyone talk about Araquanid, they almost certainly brought up its ability, Water Bubble, and for good reason. It makes this thing an absolute menace. Araquanid unfortunately has no way to boost its physical attack, but it doesn't really need it. Water Bubble doubles the power of its water type moves on top of the usual same attack type bonus and Terra, meaning that even with no setup move, it can still hit pretty hard. It does have Rain Dance, which it can use to boost its damage in some form, as well as the damage of its water type allies, stacking quite a lot of modifiers here, huh? Fortunately, Araquanid is not all damage, as it can do quite a bit of support as well. Before we get to that, let's take a look at its stats. Unfortunately, its HP is not the greatest, but that's fine, because just look at that special defense. This thing can soak up a special attack with ease a lot of the time. Its physical defense is pretty decent, and even if it's lower, it's hardly a problem, because Araquanid gets access to Launch and Reflect. Set up one Reflect and it will shrug off physical attacks rather easily, even more so if you stack it with Launch. Araquanid does also get Skitter Smack if it wants to do special attack drops. It's not as reliable as Struggle Bug, but it's not a terrible option either. Araquanid is an attacker, however, it's worth noting that it has access to a rather unique form of support in the form of Entrainment. This can be used to raise annoying abilities by using it on the boss. It's always good to have a Pokemon that can do this in your arsenal. However, What is interesting is that this can also be used to boost your teammates to give them Water Bubble. So if you have Water type allies, you can boost their damage to crazy degrees by using Entrainment on them. It's not how I personally run Araquanid, but it's worth noting nevertheless. Speaking of Water Bubble, this ability also has one more noteworthy aspect. It stops burns. This is great, as it means that Araquanid doesn't have to worry about burns dropping its attack. As for its item, well, Araquanid is going to want to run Shell Bell, as any attacker would. However, since Araquanid can make itself rather bulky, if you know you're going into raid where the boss can't touch you much, then Mystic Water is not a terrible option. But Shell Bell is far safer, so I would recommend that instead. Araquanid may not be able to get explosive levels of damage that other attackers can reach, but what it does have is consistently good damage with every attack, and good support options to make itself and teammates very sturdy. It's a great water type that works for itself and for the team.